Welcome to the Psychology Podcast. This is the Team 6, and actually, today we have in this chapter mental breakdowns. So, I heard that you, Claudia, know what is mental breakdowns now. You have this information, so can you share to us?
Yes, a mental breakdown is also known as a nervous breakdown, and it is a term that describes a period of extreme mental or emotional stress. This stress is so great or big that the person is unable to perform a normal day to day activity. Also, well, a nervous breakdown is not health. It is not a healthy response of the body. It can indicate a underlying problem such as depression or anxiety.
Okay, I think that is very interesting that you say that. Also, it's a big response because actually it has to be very big to a person like explode or have a well, like the name say, a breakdown. So, what do you think about that, Alan?
Yeah, that was really interesting since mental breakdowns can occur really constant in some people because the day-to-day activities generate much stress or anxiety, such as
Yes, the thing of that is very correct, like you say. I think it's very interesting that the stress is a very important factor in this, like in this topic of mental breakdowns, like Claudia say and you, Alan, shared to us. Well, actually, I think there is many other options, many other like things that could make you stress, like the job, like the school. Uh, I think that we are understand why school is stress. So I think that you know better that the why what causes a mental breakdown and like these kind of things. Said, you have this information, right?
Yes, a nervous breakdown is ultimately caused by an inability to cope with large amounts of stress. And how that manifests exactly varies by individual. Work stress, like the study stress you just mentioned, mental illness, family responsibilities, and poor coping strategies are all things that can lead to a nervous breakdown and the inability to function normally. For example, a mental breakdown can manifest itself from the death of a loved one or from suffering any loss of great value. For example, when some person in your family dies, that can be a suffering loss. And in other parts, such as romantic breakup or divorce, trauma from living through a natural disaster or being victim of abuse, violence, or death can also cause a mental breakdown. That's
Okay,
it.
I think that you go very open to the causes. Uh, I think very interesting the one that is the loss of, for example, of a parent or a dad or a mom. I think it's very traumatic this experience, and well, also I have a like experience like that with my uncle, and yeah, it was very really hard. So I don't know if you can share any experience that you have like a mental breakdown in any of kind of these topics or another. It will be very well. The first that I want to share is very open to talk. This is an open space.
Maybe during the pandemic, we suffer from anxiety or maybe depression, because we were used to be outside, like in university or maybe high school, and then somehow you were like trapped in your house with your family, and that can lead to have a little anxiety or sometimes depression. And yeah, that was my situation during the COVID pandemic.
Actually, what you say is very important to understand because sometimes we see them into breakdowns like in a big scale, and a little things like being your house, or this pandemic that it was really hard about the COVID-19. uh, it's very hard to us. It really punches us. It really hard a very big like importance in our life because, well, we are teenagers. We are like little adults. So we have to hang out. We have to see friends, to go to the college, and also waking up to this pandemic. For me, it was really hard to change all my lifestyle, to to go outside, to be all the day in the street, and then to be in my house all the day, 24 hours. Cannot like go and see my family and see my friends. I also think that you, Alan, or Said could share something like that. How the COVID-19 like affecting our lives in the mental healthy or in the mental breakdowns that is this topic. Can you share to us any experience, something like that, or in other topics that is in the situations?
Oh yes, of course. Like when the pandemic started, it was a really big change that I didn't thought it was gonna be as long as it is. Like it's been almost like more than a year. I don't even know how much time we went we have been in this situation. But you know, um, it has at first I was feeling lonely, because I used to be with people that I knew at school and stuff like that. And then after it started, like I don't really like to be on my phone talking to people. I like to be on my phone but not talk to people today. And we lost contact, and yeah, it was really mm, hard thing to go through.
Well, yes, and actually, the time it takes like a great value in this topic of all the desperation because we think that, well, it was only 6 months, it was only 2 weeks, it was only, and then it's a year, and then it's 2 years, and then we don't even know if we're gonna go back to the next semester of our career in the high school. So this is very desperate and very gives like this anxiety or this stress that I want to back. I want to have my life, and well, I am in my house. I don't know how much I'm gonna be like in this situation, and I think that is a very important thing because, well, the time is a lot like important, a lot like big, and desperation. Then don't know when this gonna end, and don't know when this gonna like stop. I think it's very hard. Uh, any other have any comments, any comment or something like that? You said you have something to share to us.
Well, it's not my case, but I know for a fact that some people had troubles in the pandemic with their jobs. Like, for example, the gyms. Like they used to work with a lot of people, and they couldn't work anymore. And I think that's a very stressful situation for them because it's the principal fund of uh, earns that they got, and it was closed by the government, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Well, like you say, this is another like thing that is very important because we're really in the pandemic and this situation of COVID-19. A lot of people lost her jobs because all the cinemas, all the malls, all the restaurants, gyms, like you say, well, are closed a lot of time. They have to lose her jobs, and actually being a dad or a person that is like the responsible of a family to have to pay like the the most basic like food is very like stressful or is very like big or hard to have this like this money or this opportunity to like give something to the family. So I think it's very important. Any of you have in this case of the money or the jobs, have an experience like that? Someone
Mm,
close that you know or something?
well, maybe someone close, they suffer like at the beginning because they send the people to their homes and pay less, and the even that you are not outside and everything like that, you still paying like the bills, like the gas, light, and everything like that, and food. So they cut their money, but they need to still pay their bills, and that something can cause stress for a family.
Yes, it's very stressful because, like you say, we have to pay the bills. Even if we don't have money, even if we don't have less thing, there is something that it has to be paid, like the gas, like the water, like the electricity. So it's very hard to people who lose your jobs. And actually, it will be like a very common case in these mental breakdowns. I know people that maybe never in her life feel like this anxiety or this like stressful to the high level that had to have a mental breakdown. Adult people, even very old people, having mental breakdowns, you know, having like a very healthy life in mental because well they are really past a very stressful thing, a very stressful like moment in her life. So talking about the other topics to the well to the this pandemic well to the mental breakdowns that is a central topic in other like realm or way to the so mental breakdowns you have an experience. For example, I heard that say something like a very traumatic experience like a disaster or like an abuse. Actually, I heard that the victims of abuse have actually very anxiety common and have mental breakdowns so close. Do you know any of these cases, or for example, a disaster like a hurricane or something like that?
I do not recall any natural disasters that have happened like nearby.
Actually, I don't know if her parents like told you or maybe the parents talk a lot of past some events that passed in his years, but here in Monterrey we have two hurricanes very hard. That was the San Gilberto and the Alex, and actually it affect to very like in the mental health to the people. They were very nervous because well it was a very really big disaster. So something like that that you know.
In my case, I don't know something like that, but I can tell you some signs of a nervous breakdown or like symptoms, it can be said. So,
Okay, sure.
nervous,
This is very
yes.
interesting because well it was like a very like useful to know what is signs or the symptoms and we how we could identify a mental breakdown. So Claudia, thank you very much. If you could share to us, I would be very grateful.
Okay. A nervous breakdown can lead someone to have inability to function normally. This is something I said previously, but there are other signs that can also indicate that someone is experiencing too much stress. And the first one and the most basic one is feeling symptoms of anxiety or depression. What can this include? There are many types. The most important are the following, like low self-esteem, fearfulness, irritability, worrying, losing interest in an activity, withdrawal from family and friends, difficult to breathe, uncontrollable crying, and talks of self harm or suicide. Do you have experienced something like that, like the symptoms I mentioned?
Yes, actually, in when you are speaking, and I'll talk now that we have the symptoms and know and we know like how to identify. I could see, for example, like similitudes or well something like is very very like now we can see. For example, when Alan say about that his anxiety make to lost like communication to her people or her friends, something like that. It was something that you say that lose lose like communication, and it was actually very interesting. There is something that you could share to this, Alan.
Um, Actually, not really, cause even though I lost contact with some people, I my mental state was not affected that bad, um, and I did not suffer any signs like my teammate Claudia just said to a mental breakdown. So I did not experiment, and I do not have any experience on that field.
Now that we know all the symptoms and all that, you said there is something that heard from Kalia, the symptoms that you can identify to a person that you know, or even you, if having a mental breakdown, that you say that, well, this person maybe it was not in her best moment healthy in his mental, So could you share to us something like that?
Well, I knew about some streamer, and he said sometime that he had depression. And one time when he was streaming, he got an anxiety attack. And yeah, it's the only case that I know from like nervous attack from the depression or something like that.
Well, it is very 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 like impact. Actually, I heard a case from a YouTuber that actually passed. It was like a few years ago, I think. It was like in a Christmas, if I remember. It was a video of Hitorei to share his shape his head, and he having a mental breakdown, and we can identify that he's crying, he's very anxiety, he's very stressful, and he's having like a moment of break, in a moment like of stress that is very very big, that he even shaped his head. Actually, he was very very famous in this social media like Facebook or YouTube, that is like the big platform in this moment, Instagram and these things. So, well, like you say, maybe we could not see in our family or our friends these cases, but actually that is not like mean that there is no exist, or there's no like there's many people that having a rough time, and maybe there are people like I follow, or these people that we see, and we didn't know what passed in her life, talking to these topics. I heard that you have an interview, right, Alan, about this topic. I think that you mentioned to me that you have an interview prepared. So it was very interesting. If you could share to us the interview, it was very, very, very helpful to see, and maybe to know to other people and maybe know better what is, or something like that. So if you can share, I will be very, very happy. I think that,
Yeah, so
yeah.
yes, of course. I do have an interview um with a person, and we talked about mental breakdowns that I'm going to share to you right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Please, if you put the interview, that we could see the interview, and maybe like say like comments or something like that, and see, well, the experience of other point of view, because we are like I say a little adults, but maybe to hear some other people that is in other age or something like that is very helpful. So please, Alan, when you are ready, tell us.
We hope can you see it?
Okay, thank you very much. I could see it.
Yes. Okay. Um.
Hello, my name is Alan Rodriguez and I'm going to conduct an interview with Maria Gloria Mireles in Spanish about mental breakdowns. Buenas tardes. ¿Me podría comentar sabe lo que usted sabe lo que es un colapso mental?
Sí, un colapso mental puede ser un quiebre que tenemos en nuestra vida, o sea, es como un estrés al máximo, como un alto en nuestra vida que nos lleva a ese desequilibrio o a ese desajuste en nuestra mente.
¿Usted ha sufrido algún colapso mental durante esta pandemia que hemos sufrido últimamente?
Pues no como tal el colapso, pero sí he sentido que en algunos momentos el estrés ha llegado a un grado más alto del que normalmente tengo por el tema de pandemia, por el tema de COVID, porque realmente vino a ser como que cambios así muy radicales en nuestra vida.
¿Y qué medidas usted ha tomado o qué cambios ha hecho en su vida para sobrepasar estos problemas?
Bueno, lo que he hecho primero es como un alto en mi vida, ir a esa introspección, a esa interiorización, a fortalecer también mi parte espiritual, a fortalecer también mi parte física y mi parte mental y mi parte emocional, porque realmente somos seres integrales. Y entonces al ser seres integrales, pues no podemos dejar ninguna de las áreas fuera de. Y eso es lo que me ha ayudado a mantenerme en más equilibrio, en más paz, en más tranquilidad y simplemente fluir y posicionarme pues realmente en la certeza de que Dios provee.
Okay. Usted forma parte de una organización llamada Vida Nueva. ¿Nos podría dar una breve introducción sobre lo que se realiza en esta organización?
Claro que sí, con muchísimo gusto. Así es, efectivamente la Fundación Vida Nueva, su objetivo es el que nosotros seamos personas más conscientes, el que tengamos una vida más plena, más feliz, más conscientes de nuestras acciones, de nuestras tomas de decisiones y el que seamos libres, el que vayamos eligiendo en esa libertad sin ningún condicionamiento, sin ninguna situación no conveniente, simplemente decidiendo y eligiendo lo mejor. Entonces la Fundación Vida Nueva ha estado en esta pandemia fortaleciendo pues todas y cada una de las áreas de nuestra vida como seres humanos y sobre todo pues ayudando a que la humanidad tenga una mejor calidad de vida, que la humanidad a través de estos fundamentos de vida que comparte la Fundación pues vayan teniendo una vida diferente, con una mejor salud, con un mejor bienestar, con mejores relaciones interpersonales, con un mejor flujo, o sea, realmente aportando un beneficio a todas y cada una de las áreas de nuestra vida.
Muchas gracias. Sería todo por parte de la entrevista y muchas gracias por colaborar.
Muchísimas gracias.
Well, I think that it was very, very interesting, very, very like helpful. Uh, she shared that it was in organization. You can tell us more about this organization, please.
Yes, of course. This organization is an organization that I form. I am part of. I've been going there for I don't know, not that much time, about 3 4 months, and it's an organization that helps you to, you know, helps you to have a goal, have a life objective, like elevate your consciousness, and they help you have a better life. Like it's called Vida Nueva, and yeah, it helps you like have this attachment of the material things, and like not not care about superficial things, and have a better life, like overall, with no, and probably stress, but be more conscious about what you do, your decisions, and, and stuff like that. Yeah.
What you say is very very important. I have to like say that this in big because actually what you say is very 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 like fundamental because I think that well maybe in our years there's very common and there is very like stressful say well what I'm gonna do uh, why is my function in life I'm gonna be an engineer I'm gonna be an architect I'm gonna be well decide what to do with your life what we want to get want to the future think about the future is very stressful it's very 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 hard imagine well I want to do that but how we're gonna get it how are we gonna go to this way uh, right now for example I'm studying but I want more I want think about what we want and think about the future and what the future is like having to us is very very stressful so like you say and like the people say have a goal and have a like a something to search and something to do is very important so for example to all of us what is your principal motivation to like do the things or to the future what is what you want to do
Like something I have learned like going there is to have a life objective which is different from a goal. Like you an example I can tell you is like you can set a goal to like I don't know like in 2 years I want to have a car, but then you have the car and the probably you feel happy, you feel yeah, you feel happy that you achieved that goal, but what about after that? Like that's the main reason why you should have an objective. Like you could your objective could be like happiness and peace. Have a better elevate your consciousness and yeah, yeah, it's things like that that will help you to not will help you not be tend to suffer from from a mental breakdown. Also, I want to share with you some information about some stuff you can do to not suffer from a mental breakdown, how to avoid one. Like, as you guys have told us, mental breakdown is triggered by something or several things that causes stress. A person going through this kind of mental health crisis has reached a point of being unable to cope with stress, anxiety, depression, and other negative emotions. Anyone who has experienced a nervous breakdown should consider making lifestyle changes and engaging in better self-care to help eliminate and manage stress. For instance, a change of job, ending a stressful relationship, or cutting down on responsibilities or time-consuming activities may reduce the pressure and stress that build up to a nervous breakdown. In addition to making some of the changes I just mentioned, a person who has not coped well with stress in the past can benefit from good self-care, such as socialize more with friends and family, get more physical exercise. It's a great way to reduce stress because when you exercise, your brain liberates some chemicals that helps you be happy, that makes you be happy. Also practice relaxation techniques like meditation, journaling, or breathing exercises. Eat a healthy diet, get enough sleep every night, take time to do enjoyable activities, or spend time alone if needed. The outlook for someone who has suffered a nervous breakdown is good if that person gets help and practice strategies for reducing stress after the event. Someone who ignores the event and does not take the steps to manage stress or treat an underlying mental health condition is likely to experience another breakdown in the future, so you should take care of it. A nervous breakdown is not something to be ignored. It should be followed up by a consultation with a mental health professional. Also, many people will require that you take some therapy sessions or medication if needed, because in some cases it could be really a really major problem and can also lead to some situations that will not be um that you would not like to live. It is also important to remember that this kind of mental health crisis could be a sign of an undiagnosed mental illness. If all these issues are addressed and treated, the outlook will be very good.
Well, actually, I think that was very helpful and very information that is very like important to know to know. And now you say, I think that you say a lot of things that are very important. So some part of the things that you say that I like more, it was a part that not always like focus to have an objective, like have a car, like have a college, like to focus to be happy and search the happiness and search. And this thing, there was something like I think that maybe after today I'm gonna do some changes to see, well, there is a very important thing that you say. I think that yeah, maybe sometimes we think that other things make us happy, and you say, well, it's temporarily. I feel happy to have a car, but then what? And to always search the happiness and search what we love to do or we love to have or something like that is very important. uh, there is some other comment to the on say or something like that to the interview. Someone that want to give us like some comment or some experience or something like that.
I think a very important point to stand out in the interview was that she said that we need to have a balance in our lives. That way we can prevent these nervous attacks, these things to happen, because they don't come out of nowhere, and we can do something to avoid having them. Even Alan mentioned it.
Yeah, I think that you say is very important. Well, you say all the words, and yes, like you say, it was really like big and really like important and clear and a very important thing. Sorry. Okay, and now we talk about a lot of how to avoid or how to what we do to not have these mental breakdowns. But then, what happens when we having these mental breakdowns? Uh, I do my research, I do my I have my information, and then what happened when having these mental breakdowns? Too many times we talk about, well, the way that we don't have this thing, we don't pass, like, but sometimes it pass. We can control that, and we have to understand first that we can control maybe our emotions or maybe these situations that are so big and like bigger than us. So the first step that I could see and I could like find in my research about this information to see what happened when we having a breakdown is the first like step is get away to the place that we having the mental breakdown. For example, if we having a mental breakdown because we're in school, we're in the college, and this class or something like passing this day make us a lot of stress and a lot of like a thing that make us feel bad and we having a mental breakdown, the first pass is get away to this place, uh, walk to another place that we feel safe and we feel like secure, like we are okay in this place, and not to be or stay in a place that all the things bad, because maybe there's bad to our mental, to our healthy. The other thing is control our thinking, because well, so many times we can't control what our feeling, what our thinking, but sometimes we can say like, well, I can with that, I could do it. Well, it passed. I feel so bad to that, but there is not the end of the life, and well, maybe yes, feel that, feel the moment, but say it is not the end of my life. There is gonna be more things better, and try to calm and try to think and try to think. Okay, well, it passed. It was really really bad. I feel so stressed, but well, I could or I can't like I can do that. I can like continue with my life. I can all these things and control our thinkings and our emotions. Actually, if we having a mental breakdown and we are so stressed, we can use our respiration or breathe to control ourselves. Uh, a technique that I learned in my years in the treatment psychology that I have, it was that when we having a mental breakdown and we are so stressed and we're mad and we're crying, we have to breathe. So we breathe 3 seconds, we hold the breath 3 seconds, and then we exhale. And actually, do this thing 5 times or 10 times. Have a lot and breathe. Try to calm down. Try to count 1, 2, 3 to the 10 to the 100 to the number that you need. Breathe all the time. Try to breathe the air and try to feel calm and safe is very very important. Other thing that I could see and I could find is close the eyes. Don't see any other like place, any other people, any. Only close your eyes. Try to calm down. Try to think. Try to do all these things. For example, close your eyes and breathe is very very helpful. And then uh, the more important I could see is say there's no first time, and if I could follow, I could continue the last time, I could do it again, and saying in all out, I can. uh, this is not my first crisis, this is not my final crisis, and I could with that, and know that we could continue, that there is no the end of life, and there is not stop us, that it was a rough moment, a bad situation, but also we're stronger enough that to like pass that situation that maybe was so bad. So uh, what do you think, use some of these things or some of these like situation when you're having a mental breakdown or when you feel bad or sad or something like that, something that you want to share to us, any of you?
Yes, what you said of breathing is very important because there is a moment that you don't breathe like normally and you feel like your heart beating like so fast and you start shaking and everything like that. And it is because you are not breathing well. And other thing that helped me is to talk to someone, like, I don't know, like an adult. It helps me a lot because you like release some of your problems that you have, because you trust the person and you feel a little bit more more I don't know, more comfortable with yourself, and that is something that can help you.
Yes, actually, always say to all out the things that make you feel bad is very important. For example, obviously the first and most important like as the most popular is go to psychology or psychiatry or something like that and talk to problems you're having. This is a recommendation. If you're having really, really bad time in your life, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling depressed or stressed, or you're having mental breakdowns, so like in many times of the week or your month, or you don't feel safe, you don't feel well, the first recommendation is go to a psychology, have a treatment. Uh, there is no bad to go. There is no, maybe it's like a stigma to go to a psychology, but also it's very, very helpful, very, very like important to talk to someone. Now, if you don't feel like this necessary, there's very important to talk to other people, like always say, to a friend, to your parents, to your teachers, to any people that you feel trust and you feel comfortable. So you could tell the problems and feel like someone is like understand you and someone is like listen to you, and and to you to understand that your problem is real and to you to like feel your emotions. There's a very important you said, Laura. So, there's any final comment that you want to say? Anything you want to share? I think that we have a really, really big time, a really important. We say a lot of things that are fundamentals of life. So, there is any final comment that any of you want to say? For example, you said there is something that you want to share to us to close this podcast.
Sometimes people, when they're having mental breakdowns or they start crying, nowadays they used to record themselves or make live streamings in Instagram. I think that's kind of a mistake because you never know the kind of people who's in the internet, and some of them can make like memes or that kind of stuff and bother you in the future, and it can be worse.
Yes, like you say, it's very, very important. Like you two say, Claudia and Said, uh, to open ourselves, open to people that you have trust and you feel comfortable and you know that the people are gonna listen to you and help you, or if they can't help you, say, okay, I'm here to you, and not like make laugh of you or like you say, do some memes or something like that. There are people that you trust and you feel comfortable to pass this moment and to go like not having a very, very rough time. So I think that we see very, very important thing in this podcast, in this chapter. I think that was a very, very interesting all that you say, all the stuff that we see. So thank you very much. I'm very, very thankful that you come to my podcast and to come and we do this session. Uh, Actually, I'm very happy to this chapter. I think that I learned a lot and we all are learning that. And the people that we see this chapter gonna understand a lot better what is a mental breakdown and what happened we having a mental breakdown. And that is normal that the people have a mental breakdowns and don't pass anything. It's normal, it passed and in the end of the world. So thank you very much, Claudia. Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you very much, Said. Uh, Today is a very, very important day. We're having a great time together. So thank you very much. There is something that you want to say to final this chapter?
Yes, we have a little conclusion at the end of this video of what we think about our topic that we choose.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So uh, next to this video, next to this conclusion, there's gonna be a conclusion that we like we do and we are all together. So thank you very much, Claudia. We're gonna put together this conclusion. So thank you very much to see our podcast and thank you for all of them and have a nice weekend. Thank you very much. This was psychology podcast and it was the chapter of mental breakdown. So thank you very much and have a nice day.
Hi, we are team number 6, and we gather in Hime to conclude this project. We conclude that prioritizing mental health is important for everyone in order to don't have a mental breakdown.
And nervous attacks are dangerous because they can cause depression and anxiety. And anxiety normally have physical consequences like chest pain, headache, vomiting, tiredness. Generalized anxiety can also be bad in social activities such as school, going to school, or yeah, social stuff.
Mental health is a really important aspect on our everyday life, and it should be preserved as good as possible so it does not affect us on our everyday activities. Um, if you suffer from a mental breakdown or are in a lot of stress, you should get look for help in any way that you can, so it does not affect you. And going to a psychologist is nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you.
Thank you.